Hey, thanks for checking out the second part of the Ultimate Motion Graphics and Kinetic Typography tutorial. My name is Sar, and let's begin. We already know that when you create two or more keyframes, you are creating a transition between them. And this transition can be shown on a graph. This graph represents a constant speed animation, and that's because the speed of the transition between the keyframes is constant during the entire animation. Let's talk about how this graph works. We'll be using the speed graph. In the speed graph, changes in the graph height indicate changes in speed. The higher the speed value is, the faster the transition between the keyframes will be. And of course, the timeline will be represented horizontally. So when we're talking about the constant speed graph, we can see that the animation speed doesn't change from the first keyframe to the second one. It's constant during the entire time. But it doesn't have to be this way. We can create an animation that starts with really low speed values and ends with really high speed values. Then during the transition between the keyframes, the speed of the transition is changing. We can also do the exact same opposite. Higher speed at the beginning of the animation and lower speed at the ending of it. Here are a few examples of the same animation manipulated by different graphs. Our constant speed animation during the entire time, an animation that starts and ends slower, an animation that starts slower but ends really fast. But the cool thing is that we can manipulate this graph and really push it to extreme situations. For example, we can make the animation start really slow and stop it almost instantly. We can do the opposite by starting almost instantly and end it really slow. So if you still didn't get the idea, here's a comparison between all the graph animations I just showed you. Same keyframes, same timeline, but different speeds. So inside After Effects, I have the same project we've been working on in part 1. But I disable the scale and rotation keyframes by simply clicking the stopwatch icon again. We'll select our position keyframes, right-click, Keyframe Assistant, and Easy Ease. Easy Ease in After Effects is a way to give our animations some fine-tuning. And it's basically After Effects' way of saying, "Yo man, your animation looks like shit, let me fix that for you." It cancels the constant speed animation and it makes any keyframe start and end smoother. We don't want to use it from here. We always want to use the F9 keyboard shortcut. And when we do it, we can see the keyframe icons changing. And if we hit 0 on the keyboard to play the animation, we can see that it starts slower and ends slower. We'll Ctrl Z to cancel Easy Ease and we'll go to this little icon says Graph Editor. This is what we talked about. These two squares are my keyframes. And you have to make sure that you go to this little icon and that Edit Speed Graph and not Edit Value Graph is selected. Now if we want to see what Easy Ease does behind the scene, we can select our keyframes and hit F9. And you can see that our constant speed graph has been replaced with this graph. And when you go over it with the mouse, you can actually see the pixels per second, the speed of the animation changing over time. We don't have to apply Easy Ease to both of our keyframes. We can also apply it to each keyframe alone. Although when you do apply it to both keyframes, it gives you more control over the animation. For example, you can see those yellow handles near our keyframes. And if we'll simply drag this handle to the left, I'm creating an animation that starts really fast and ends really slow. And if I'll hit 0 on the keyboard to preview it, you can see it. And if I wish to, I can also grab the left handle to the left, and this will make the animation start instantly and still stop really slow. And we can do the exact opposite. We can start the animation very slow, but end it almost instantly, just like this. It might be not so true, but I'm gonna say it anyway. For you, keep in mind that with the graph editor, there are no rules. After you get the basic understanding of it, you're gonna just play with it, and every time you preview what you've done, you're gonna want to come back to the graph editor and fix it if you think something doesn't look right. You want to keep in mind that the graph editor can be used for many different types of keyframes. So I'll delete all my position keyframes and I want to make a bouncing scale effect. So I'm going to start by making my text bigger and I'm going to move the anchor point to the middle of it. And as you can see, I created two keyframes, one for 0% and the other for 100%. But I want to change the 100% to 110. And I'm going to move forward and make another one for 95, and forward again, make another one for 102, and finally the last one will be 100. So I noticed that the keyframes I made are already easy eased. So this is a good chance to stop and let you know how you cancel it. You select the keyframes and you simply control click them. We'll F9 again to bring these back again. And we can see that the animation is okay. It's kinda smooth, but it's still not perfect. And we can go to the graph editor and fix it. And I'll be honest with you, until I see the preview of what I'm doing, I can't say, well, this should work. I know the graph and I know what I'm doing, and yet it's not gonna be perfect until you're gonna preview it 100 and 200 times. And of course come back to the graph editor and fix it 100 and 200 times. I feel like my animation is a little too long. So I'm gonna go back to my keyframes view, and I'm gonna select them all, and by holding down Alt and dragging the last keyframe left, I'm shrinking the space between all of the keyframes. And I can also do it manually if I want to make any specific adjustments. So we get the point of scaling. Let's move to rotation. We'll delete all of our keyframes, and we'll make a rotation keyframe at the beginning. We'll type in 20 degrees, and we'll move forwards to -10 degrees, move forward 5 degrees, -2 degrees, and 0 degrees. So I'm creating this rotation that slows down over time. Make sure all keyframes are easy eased. We can make the entire animation faster. We'll select the keyframes and we'll go to the graph editor. Here I'm gonna make a few adjustments. One point that I noted to myself is that I want a slow start. Then I'm gonna play with all the other keyframes until I feel my movement is more natural and more realistic than constant speed movement. And the cool thing is that I can change the anchor point's position, and by moving it up, I'm creating like this door sign effect. Another thing I can do is I can take the anchor point and move it out of the frame. I want to move it out of the composition. And I want to move it so far that at the beginning of the animation, I won't see the cake at all. It's gonna be out of the frame. And by doing that, I'm achieving this really nice effect. Here's a comparison between what we've done and between the same animation but without any easing and without using the graph editor. The next part is gonna be much crazier than this part. Also don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like this video. Thanks for watching, and as always, thanks for checking out Creavite tutorials.